Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to share how I created an award-winning 360-degree video project to help deliver findings from our research project. Since I wrote about and released the 360-degree video-based research-informed virtual relationship-based practice training project, or RIVER for short, I've had a number of people approach me to ask, how did you create this project? To help answer those questions, what I want to do in this video is just outline some of the steps that I took to create this project. So the areas that I'm going to cover are: why use 360-degree films? What are the principles behind the recording approach that I took? Why the 360-degree film should be embedded into an effective learning design? What camera and editing software and headsets should I use to deliver the final outputs? And finally, what important tips can I offer from my own experiences of creating 360-degree film projects to disseminate research findings? So why use 360-degree films? Well, if you've published research with things like tone, atmosphere, body language, and those elements that are generally difficult to put across on the written page are important, then what you should do is consider using an immersive medium. Before running off and creating 360-degree films, it's important that you're able to justify your reasons for using this medium. I outlined the justification for using immersive video in relation to my own project in a research paper I've published. There's a link to this paper below. Also, there's a great book by Jeremy Bailenson who points out that using immersive media like 360-degree films creates a powerful sense of presence for those who use the headsets. Bailenson's book is called Experience on Demand, and I've also put a link to the book in the section below. I would really encourage you to read my paper and this book before jumping into any 360-degree video film development. The main reason I used 360-degree films was because I wanted to take my learner on a journey with me. In the films, I play the role of a researcher, and learners follow me and my colleague, a social worker, so that they can experience what a child protection visit feels like. By using the headsets, they can then safely observe the different elements involved in the child protection process, and begin to not only understand and observe, but also experience what our research demonstrated led to good relationship-based practices and not so good relationship-based practices. This medium has the ability to convey things like mood, atmosphere, and all those elements that are sometimes just really hard to get across in writing. And my research suggests that we successfully managed to convey these things by using 360-degree videos. So coming up with the idea of using 360-degree videos was the easy part. The difficult bit was actually putting it into practice. And so what were the principles that I used in the recording approach? Well, to have an impact, the scenes had to feel real. And so what we did was we recruited real social workers to play the role of not only the social worker, but also the different family members as well. And what this allowed us to do was take the learning from the research and helped us to co-produce a set of storylines that enabled us to, in an authentic way, deliver the research messages through storytelling. So using our research as a basis, the storylines were developed along with social workers, young people with experience of the care system, and social work managers to give it an authentic feel. We realised that having a static camera position for the 360-degree view wasn't really a good idea, because what we wanted to do was demonstrate the importance of movement in social work practice. So I had to think really hard about this, and then one day this idea just popped into my head. I thought, well, why don't I play the role of the researcher? And what this did was it allowed me to carry the camera, so I was able to make sure that the filming was done in the correct way. But this also allowed me to accompany the social worker and pose questions to them prior to the visit. So, I might ask them questions such as, well, how are you feeling? What's going on? And this allowed us to get into the head of the social worker and basically tell the audience some of the stories that the social workers told us during the actual research project. And also after the visit, I was able to follow the social worker back to their car, for example, where they were able to immediately reflect on what went well and what potentially could have gone better. Another element in terms of the filming philosophy was that we created a fictional family. The social worker followed this fictional family for 11 months, and this was very similar to the research project where we followed some families for 12 months. And what this allowed the trainees to do was see the interactions of the social worker with the family over a long period of time. And what this allowed us to do was embed the learning from the research messages into the different segments of the films. And one of the really great ideas that we came out with was creating an enabler and barrier version within each of the modules. The barrier versions demonstrated those elements that didn't lead to good relationship-based practices. The enabler versions of exactly the same scenes allowed the trainees to see those subtle differences that led to good and effective relationship-based practice in child protection work. So, using a family, using a period of 11 months, allowed us to effectively deliver our research messages. And this was an important part of the storytelling that led to the authentic feel in terms of the learning that the trainees undertook. One of the questions I get asked as well is, why did you put the films into a learning design? Why didn't you just offer them on their own? Our experience demonstrated that to have good impact and the ability to relay research messages effectively in the training package, we had to offer the learners the opportunity to think and reflect on the messages that they took on board and how they would implement these in their own practice. So the overall learning design is experiential in nature and encourages a good deal of discussion, debate, reflection and thinking on part of the trainee. You will see my research paper that we drew on the theories of Kolb and Bandura's social learning and social cognitive theories to help influence the shape of the learning design. RIFA has 7 modules, and those modules are basically contained within a set of 7 PowerPoints. Each of the PowerPoints are consistent in terms of the learning design. Our evaluations have shown that trainers find it easy to deliver the training because of this consistent approach to each of the modules' learning design. Our evaluations also showed that using the 360-degree films as triggers for discussion and debate actually encouraged the learners to make links between the research messages and their application into practice. So what camera, editing software and headsets did I use? Well, to film, I used this really great 360-degree camera, and I've put a link to the camera in the section below. It records beautiful video very clearly, and the audio is great in this little thing as well. The software I used to edit the 360-degree films is Final Cut Pro, and I used a MacBook Pro M1 13-inch laptop computer to edit the films. The headsets that I used to deliver the films and the training are these Class VR 64GB premium headsets. They're excellent headsets. They provide a really good immersive experience. The image quality is great and the audio is very good as well. And it's really quite easy to get the films onto these headsets. So what tips can I give you from my own experiences of creating 360-degree film projects to deliver research? The first tip is to have a very good reason for using immersive media. Using 360-degree films was appropriate for our research project because what we wanted to do was transport our learners into what we witnessed in the research field. And so we were able to use 360-degree films to convey our research messages by demonstrating tone, atmosphere and body language, and all those elements that we knew led to good relationship-based practice, and those elements that didn't lead to good relationship-based practice in child protection. So, using 360-degree video allowed us to enable the learner to engage in a safe environment and take away these research messages and apply them to their own practices. Another tip is, when creating an immersive 360-degree film project like this, be clear about the research messages that you want to convey. Another tip is that when you create the films, make sure you do so in a way that they act as triggers, so that they can be part of a good learning design that enables thinking, discussion, debate and reflection, so that when people leave the training, they're clear about the learning that they want to put into practice in their own fields. My final tip is, just go out and do it. Get a camera, start filming, put it onto a headset, try it out in a pilot project with some people, look at what works and what doesn't for your own field, and just do it. Honestly, it's not that difficult to do. Now, if you have any questions, please do leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer. The links to most of the resources I've mentioned in this video are provided below. I've created more videos about teaching and learning design that you can access here. Please do like, share and subscribe for more videos. I really do hope you found this video useful, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.